Hello all, welcome back to my channel. So without any further ado, let's look on the Nifty chart for today. So as we discussed yesterday, Nifty made a low of 15,460 odd yesterday, and our support point was around 15,474 levels. Was this? Right from there, we could see that Nifty took a U-turn and it did bounce back steadily, and it made a good close yesterday. So when I mean by good close, we can look at the volumes on Nifty futures. So if you actually see this Nifty futures chart, what happens is you can see that there's been a significant buying towards the end of the day, which slightly suggests that today could be a gap up open. So, and in those lines, if you actually see the SDX part, it is indeed up by about approximately 80-90 odd points. So that suggests a clear bullish sign yesterday at closing, and that is one view that we can take for today. So, but let's discuss about Nifty for the day. What's on the plate? So what could happen is, let me just bring up the daily chart for you. So if you actually see, we are at a So if you actually see, we are sort of in an uncharted zone, but this is where we took a support yesterday, 15,460. That's just slightly below the high of 28 May. So, and the all-time high is around 15,680 levels or 660 levels approximately. So that's just like another 80 odd points, and then we'll be at all-time highs. So there's a likely good chance that we might actually open all-time high today, and we just need to hold out for 15-20 minutes odd, and we need to see whether the levels are going to sustain or no. So that's on one part for Nifty, and the one part to be cautious is today is an expiry and it could be pretty volatile. So let's just come back to 5 minutes chart and let's see what could be the thing. So if you actually see on 5 minutes, we broke out of this range, particularly 15,520 zone, which was sort of a support. If you recall from yesterday's video, that was a zone which acted as support initially, but that broke and touched 15,460. So we are right above that zone, and the next resistance what I see is actually 15,661. That's the all-time high for Nifty. So on that part, it does seem good for us for the day, and on the downside the levels still remain at 15,460, 15,370, and on upside 15,660 is first point, then followed by 15,700 is one zone. So breaking anything above 15,700 would just directly lead us to 15,800 all the way. The major participants for this rally seem to be Reliance Industries, and one other thing is Adani, which grew significantly. So one bad part is the banking stocks haven't been performing, but let's come to that thing. And meanwhile, let's also see the Nifty OI stats. Just a glance on OI stats and where they are. So this is Bank Nifty OI stats. Let me just bring up the Nifty OI stats. So yeah, currently this heavy call writing that's been at 15,600, 650 and 700 levels, if you actually see, and this heavy put writing at every 50 points on the downside. So we have significant supports on the downside for now, unless there's a very big move with volumes that's coming up. But on upside, suppose if we are going to open at all-time highs or the gap ups, and if the gap up is going to sustain, call writers might hurry to close their positions, because that might put them into troubled waters. So let's also see the OI change yesterday, what happened. So significant support at 15,450 zone. If we see there's heavy put writing that has happened yesterday, and that's where Nifty actually took a support. Also 15,460 was its low, And on upside, if you see 15,650 and 15,700 calls have been written aggressively yesterday, but 15,550 and 15,500 there wasn't much movement at all. So any gap up that sustains can just pull out the call writers on upside. Then they will be shifting their positions from 15,700 to 15,750 and 15,800 gradually. So that's on Nifty's front. Let's also come to Bank Nifty's front. So what's that? Bank Nifty, right? So as I mentioned, Bank Nifty hasn't been performing that really well, but guessing Bank Nifty might catch up with Nifty's pace today or tomorrow, given that Nifty has been running aggressively. So on that note, yesterday we, in similar lines, 35,000 was a 35,000, 34,900 was a support zone that we discussed, and 35,064, 35,070 was the low for yesterday. So from there we were in a channel until afternoon, that's 2:45. Unlike Nifty right from the low it sort of showed a recovery sign, but Bank Nifty was really weak if you actually see the chart itself. So but towards the end, let me just bring up the volumes here, that would be better to understand. So right, if you actually see at 2:45 we did break out from this zone, and that with significant volumes, and the big red candle that was made with volume got actually rejected, and the follow-up green candle actually came in. So yesterday's close was on a positive note for Bank Nifty also, and I'm looking forward for a decent upside, at least in the gap up scenario today. So on that note, what's the thing about Bank Nifty? So the first resistance what I see on Bank Nifty's part is 35,700 zones. That's the previous highs. 35,700 would be 700 and 750 would be the first resistance zone for me, and the support still lies for 35,000 zone for me. Breaking 35,000 would only lead to a significant selling, where the put writers have to cover their positions in a hurry. So on that note, if the immediate resistance of 35,700 followed by 36,000 as resistance. So let's also see for Bank Nifty OI part where exactly it is. So 35,000, let me just bring up the change. So what happened yesterday? So yesterday there's been a fight between 35,400 and 35,500 levels if we see. So 35,400 calls that which were written on day before yesterday, those came down significantly, and 35,500 puts also came down significantly, that which were written. It's in a conflict zone, but more or less with today's open the conflict zone would just break, and like I mentioned repeatedly, if this gap up is going to sustain for 15 minutes and or in the first half an hour, 35,500 call writers have to cover their positions at a very rapid pace. So that's on Bank Nifty's front. Personally, on Bank Nifty, as I was bullish, I did take a hedged position, and let me just show you about that, what it is. So this is my trading terminal, and let me just bring up my what's in the plate. Right, so what did I do here exactly? So I went long on Bank Nifty because I was on a bullish note, and to gain the benefit or to protect my position, I did also buy an ITM P. So although these prices aren't correctly reflecting, because these are mostly changed from the buying average or selling average to the last traded price, so that's an issue. So my buying price was approximately 35,450 on the future front, and the put was somewhere around 420 odd change. So that's slightly on a flat note, but the gap up, and I would wait for a little time for the first half an hour and see how the trade goes on. This is basically a very low risk trade, and I would be making a video on how to avail margin benefit and just flow with the trend. So ideally, for one to go positionally long on Nifty futures or Bank Nifty futures, it would approximately take 1.6 lakhs, but this whole position just costed me around 35,000 rupees, and the max risk is approximately 2,500. So I'll just update this in today's evening video or tomorrow's morning video, and I'll also be making a margin benefit video which could really help retailers to enter a position with minimal risk. So that's on my part, and yeah, please let me know if you have any further questions. Otherwise, let's have a happy trading day. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go subscribe, like and comment. That would really encourage me to make many more videos. So thanks all.